Crispy duck and luscious orange sauce combined in this classic duck à l'orange French dish will make any celebration extra special and memorable. Duck à l'orange sounds very fancy and complicated, but in essence is a very simple roast duck brushed with a delicious orange glaze. There are a few tricks and tips to getting that perfect crispy skin and infusing the meat with all the delicious flavors. And I'm going to share all of them with you today. One of the key to making a delicious duck is making sure the skin is super crispy. For that purpose, refrigerate uncovered for at least 1 hour and up to 24 hours. This helps absorb any moisture and dry out the skin for extra crispy results. Now cut off the wing tips at the joint, leaving the drumettes connected to the duck. Trust me, Donald Duck doesn't mind anymore. Another very important step is to score the skin. Duck meat has a lot of fat underneath the skin. We must get rid of most of it. Otherwise, the fat taste will be overwhelming. Take a sharp knife and score the meat by cutting lines diagonally into the skin on both sides without piercing the meat. This allows the fat underneath the skin to escape while roasting, leaving us with perfectly crispy duck skin and juicy meat. Trim away any excess skin around the neck and cavity openings. Next, reach into the cavity and pull out all the inwards. This typically includes the neck, liver, and giblets. Don't discard any of these parts. Save it for later. You can make a great stock. Generously season duck all over inside and out with kosher salt. Stuff your duck with slices of oranges, lemons, and rosemary. Use kitchen twine and tie the duck legs tightly. Circle around one leg first to hold it in place. Then tie the second leg, pulling them snugly together. Now take a slice of orange and squeeze some fresh juice all over. For the purpose of roasting a duck, you will need a baking pan with a rack. Remember, after piercing the skin, the duck will render a lot of fat. We don't want the duck roasting in it. It will be extremely greasy and it will ruin the whole roast. Place the duck on the rack. For presentation purposes only, tuck the neck skin under the knot. Here, it looks much nicer. To build your flavors, you can add some veggies to the bottom of your pan. Any root vegetables like onions, celery, carrots are all a great option. Into your baking pan, pour 1 cup of white wine and 2 cups of water. Transfer the baking pan into a preheated oven and bake at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Then reduce to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and cover with foil. Bake covered for the next 1 hour. While the duck is roasting covered in the oven, let's start on our glorious sauce. We will need the zest and the juice of 2 oranges. I love using the citrus gadget for this purpose. It zests your oranges in strips, which is perfect for this recipe. If you're like me who likes to use citrus zest in all your baking, then this tool might become your favorite. I will link it for you in the notes. Slice the same oranges in half and squeeze the fresh juice into a bowl. In a small saucepan, add 1 cup of honey, half a cup of Grand Marnier, orange liqueur, the freshly squeezed orange juice, 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, and a pinch of salt. Cook over medium heat for roughly 5 minutes. Now add the orange zest, And the zesty orange gives a subtle tangy flavor along with the rich, sweet, and sour flavors in the sauce. The mixture will come to a boil, and then mixing frequently, bring it down to a simmer until it slightly reduces. Your sauce should have the consistency of a glaze. Turn off the heat and add 2 tablespoons of butter. Whisking constantly, work the butter into the sauce. It should be silky and glossy. The sauce at this point should lightly coat the back of a spoon, and if you drag your finger through it, it should leave a clear path. After 1 hour of roasting and in the final 45 minutes, remove the foil and brush the duck with the glorious glaze all over your roast. Return to the oven for the next 30 to 45 minutes or until internal temperature reaches 160 to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Brush the duck skin every 15 minutes and check for doneness with a meat thermometer. Duck handles high heat so well for 2 reasons. First, the meat all over is on the darker side. Second, and even more important, is the duck's luxuriously fatty skin, which insulates the meat and bathes it into mouth-coating rendered fat, ensuring each bite is mouth-watering. Speaking of which, our roasted duck à l'orange is done. Oh my, look at this amazing masterpiece. This was much simpler than it sounds, and I know you can master a beautiful roast like this. The thermometer reached 165 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's time to let it rest for a good 20 minutes before carving. Just make sure you cover it with foil to allow all of those flavors to come together. Now, very important, do not discard the juices from the bottom of your pan. Using a fine mesh strainer, strain stock and discard the solids. This is liquid gold. This gravy is mostly duck fat, which is packed with flavor, and it's perfect for roasting potatoes or any veggies, and searing meats. I like to divide it into an ice cube container, and once frozen, I transfer it to a Ziploc and use as needed. Serve your duck à l'orange on a platter and decorate with oranges. Of course, after all, it's orange duck. Serve this roast duck with a side of creamy mashed potatoes, and you're in for one memorable, family-pleasing holiday meal. 1 whole duck has enough meat for 2. If you're serving more people, consider doubling the recipe. You will need to double everything except the sauce, of which this recipe produces more than enough. This is a marvelous and impressive centerpiece for any celebration table. The meat and the skin is very flavorful and crispy. The sauce is an excellent combination that takes this roast to the next level. This is very delicious. Enjoy. See you next time.